Hello, 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 everyone. It's Monday, and Mondays suck. I'm Jack Bigadoo. I'm your host, and we're here every Monday to talk to you about whiskey, talk to you about things that happen in the whiskey world, and every now and then give you a little bit of lesson in life. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Mine was busy, but I'm here. But the show doesn't happen without the man, the myth, the legend, the Kentucky thoroughbred himself. Timmy.
My dudes, what's
What's
going
happening?
on?
What's
How's it
what's happening?
going?
What's happening? It's
I'm uh I'm I'm pretty tired and I'm pretty hoarse, but I'm happy to be here.
yeah. Uh that's you been on the road apparently.
Yes, I've been on the road and I've been dancing my ass off and singing my heart out.
On the road again.
On the road, baby.
Just can't wait
I
to
had a
get
great
on the
weekend though.
road again. That's probably one of my favorite songs.
Really?
Yeah. So it's funny that is my favorite song because I, since by day I'm an insurance agent, I used to travel quite a bit to go visit clients.
Sure.
So every time I travel to go visit client, I get on the road and I always drive like to Minneapolis or to Iowa or South Dakota. And funny thing is, you know, being on the road and not being with family, I would listen to that song, but there is a rendition of that song sing by Straight No Chaser, where is on the road again and I play the road. So when you put those two together, it literally give you goosebumps and make you cry immediately because there's that part of that song where they stop like, "Tell me, Daddy, where you go when you leave me all this night with a suitcase and a guitar in your hand, leaving me and Mom goodbye." And it's like it's too much. So you
I love that.
but that's it end up being my favorite song even if I didn't want to. But if you're here, it's Monday, and today we will be talking after we go through our segments. The subject of the day is Finnish whiskeys. I feel like we know them. Sometime is great, sometime is bad, sometime is in the middle, sometime is used wrong, I believe, in my opinion. But today we are going to talk about what are our favorite, what I believe were fails of Finnish whiskeys and what you should look for. Now, if you're here and you're watching this, just like me, I would say the people that need the most, honestly, are the people on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, it's no big deal. But if you're on Facebook, make sure you share this with your friends, and make sure you share this in groups and with people, and make sure that they actually come and join us for the party. Uh, so just like me right now, you can see I'm sharing it in the Omaha group for the whiskey lovers. I'm sharing in the ABV group, and I always share these things so they can come and join the conversation. This is an interesting conversation that I always ask people, like, I really wonder what what you believe is the best finished whiskey out there. um so I'm very
I think it's always going to be subjective, and I think that's why it's cool to have this conversation because I mean, there's always going to be things that you like more than I like, and vice versa. And I mean,
Mhm.
for anybody, right? It's always going to be it's always going to be that way. So,
So for me, it's always interesting to actually hear people's opinion on things that actually are finished, because there's so much that happen in finished whiskeys that sometimes I feel like the point of it is kind of missed by
sure.
people. So I'm always curious to know what's people's opinion on those specific type of product. So There's a lot we're gonna unpack today, but the show does not start with us talking about what are we drinking. What are we drinking? Since today is all about Finnish whiskey, I thought it would be only appropriate to drink a bunch of Finnish whiskey and see exactly where that get us. So, what are we drinking? Timmy, what are you drinking?
See, now I'm kind of in a pickle here because I think I have a lot of really good heavy hitter finishes behind me,
Mhm.
and I'm not really sure where to start, so I'm just gonna start kind of light, and I'm gonna go Starlight.
Okay.
This is a rye finished in a honey barrel. I think it's pretty damn brilliant if you're gonna do a honey finish or a maple finish to
We
do
we
it.
are we are going to get we are going to get to that. Those
Just
variants
gotta
of
say, I
finish.
just gotta say. That's why I'm
So
excited to drink it some more. What do
okay.
you got? What do you got?
I realized today that I'm an imposter because I've had this bottle for quite some time, but for some reason I realized that I've been hoarding for four gate whiskeys. I seriously been hoarding four gate. I'm not even. This is not even a joke. Is I realized that I have beside the last four that were released. I have almost every four gates. Uh,
Damn.
yeah, including two barrel picks, one from Fred Minnick and one from
Damn.
it's only bourbon night.
Mm-hmm.
But I only have samples of the last four that were released.
Okay. Okay.
But I have a lot of four gates. But here's a funny thing: every time I will have four gates is because it's at somebody's house. So I never
Okay.
even got the opportunity to actually open my own four gates.
So what you got there?
So today I have the Bluegrass trilogy. I realized that I have the trilogy, so I have a one, two, and three, but I have two of the three. So I'm opening up
Ooh. Okay.
the
Okay.
three that I have because I realize I have one of a kind of all, but I never actually. So when people talk about four gates, I know I realize that when four gates started immediately, I used to get on his case about sending us samples so we can review it. So I tasted every one, but I never truly just opened my own bottle because I will buy the bottle, but when he
Sure.
send the sample, I just do it. But
Sure.
remember, if you hear, like I said again, if you're on Facebook, give this a thumbs up, give it a like, share with your friend, and if you're here on YouTube, welcome to the party.
Mm.
We are talking today about finishes, but the segment we are in today is what are we drinking? So if you're drinking something, let us know. What are you drinking? What
What
are you drinking?
are you drinking?
What are you drinking? I'm really curious always to know what people drink on Mondays. Oh, the Tokai.
Mm.
So yeah,
Mm.
so he found the Tokai and he is obsessed with it now. So
It's fucking incredible.
Urban Dropout, welcome. Adam,
It is
welcome.
fucking
Top
incredible.
in the house always
Top
welcome.
dog, Mike Adams,
Top
Bourbon Dropout.
two.
No, St. Patrick. I feel like a little boy who's going through puberty again because my voice is so fucking scratchy. If you guys followed my story on Instagram, I went to a music festival for 3 days. It's a hardcore music festival. I got to see a lot of bands that I grew up watching. There was reunions of bands that never played before or haven't played in years and years and years and years. And I got to see some of my favorite bands front row. One of my favorite bands is Thrice, and they
Mhm.
played one of their entire albums, and oh, it was so great. Every song, high energy, jumping on top of people, screaming your heart out. Yeah, living it up like you're 18 again. Drinking store
Strawberry
pick
some
makers.
makers.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Okay. So funny thing is this four gate is finished in tawny port, a para sherry, and dark rum cask.
Yep.
A lot going on around here.
So the Calvin finishes were always TC. The
What up?
Calvin finishes I think were always triple finished. Um, but I mean they're freaking fantastic. If I could get my hands on batch one again, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Low proof on Mondays. I'll tell you, I had a weekend. I drank an entire bottle of OWA over the weekend. That was fun.
Woo.
Spicy meatball.
Mm.
the
So much happening here.
first Calvin collab was 1234 proof, so 123.4 proof. I think these are kind of in the same. I
One
think they're
is
kind of in the
1247.
124. So they're kind of in the
But
same belt.
the tawny one, that tawny and that sherry cask is whoa, is a lot.
I have. Let's see. I have what is this? I
Woo.
have Calvin collaboration number 2, which is one of my favorites. I'm going to get into that one next. And this is 126.4,
Hmm.
and this is cognac and rum, which I think also won a bunch of awards.
Yes, it's quite interesting. This finish is a lot. Like it's the first finish that I literally I'm thinking water will help. Water would definitely help because it's so concentrated. There's a lot happening in this thing. I can barely think right now. But
You're like, help us, Jesus.
yeah. Um, you know what? Let's talk about let's bring in some whiskey news. Let's talk about some whiskey news. What do we have on the whiskey news spectrum? That is
I had something, and I'll be honest, I didn't fucking write it down, and I lost it. So um, I'm pretty much useless on this one right now. I'll be honest with you. I'm sorry.
okay.
I have it on here somewhere. I have to dig for it. You can go. You can dive in, and
Whiskey
I'll see if I can
news.
find it.
On whiskey news, we have first thing will be Barrel released the Barrel Vintage. For you guys that don't know, the Barrel Vintage was released. It's on the market. It's gonna be one of their staples. So if you want it, I think you can either buy it, but you can also just jump onto their own website because I think they have it now to actually grab it immediately yourself. So Barrel
I like. Did you try that yet?
Vintage is good.
I liked it.
I didn't I would tell you something. I wasn't ready, but I liked it. Because I was like, I don't know this misery. And a lot of things happening in the thing. I'm like, I don't know about all this. But I like it. I like it. I'm not even gonna front. I like it. Um Another thing that is hitting the market soon. I had a chance to actually meet him this weekend. Good thing that's in the market soon is 2OX or the Return of the Phoenix. With if you know the name, Deadman is putting out his own juice now.
Awesome.
He won. If people that don't know Dixon Deadman, just remember the name Kentucky Owl from batch 1 all the way to batch 9. That was all Dixon Deadman. So he's putting out his own thing. They'll be using Johnson Brothers. So if you have Johnson Brothers in your area, just make sure that you check it out. 20X is what I actually that's how I read it, but I forgot to ask him how he says it. 20X. No, 2XO. So which is his brand, return of the
Turn the Phoenix.
yeah.
The
So
Phoenix coming up through the ashes.
yeah, Phoenix coming back to the ashes. Apparently he has a rye out already, so the rye is already out. So just look out for it. I love Dixon as a blender. I believe he did an amazing job with. He's the reason why he made me truly fall in love with rye. He truly,
That batch 1 of that rye.
yeah.
Mm.
Not even that batch one, batch two, batch. I mean, I never know anybody that is just pulling out home runs over and over and over. And
Sure.
I think I'm hoping, and I know y'all don't like when I get in the negative corner, but I'm hoping that what happens to people we know doesn't happen to Dixon. Don't, you are working with a brand, everybody loves you, and then you get out and do your own brand and it flops or it's not even
I
good.
don't think it will.
But I'm just saying, that's why I'm very much looking forward
I
to
mean,
it.
look at let's use his old business partners as an example, the Carters, right? The three of them started Kentucky all together. Carters were a part of it till batch 6 or 7,
Yeah.
and they started Old Carter, and Old Carter has been nothing but
No,
successful.
Old Carter's doing, but you have to understand, no one knew the Carters. They were kind of silent in the back. No one knew
I
them.
guess that's fair.
Yeah,
Okay.
no one knew them till when they started Old Carter before we like, oh, these people have an amazing palate.
I feel like the nerds of whiskey knew who it were though, and I feel like the nerds like helped carry that on
Okay.
as
Okay.
to
So
why it's what it is.
absolutely.
I'm not trying to dwindle any of their success because they're fantastic at
No,
what
they
they
are.
do.
They are. Like I'll be honest. I did not know them till their brand. But I
Got it.
knew
Okay.
a signature on the bottle, which is Dixon Deadman.
Okay.
So the one thing I'm saying here is that what I really want is I wish Dixon. I mean, he's just a cool dude.
Oh yeah.
I wish him a lot of success. I'm hoping that his brand actually stand to who he is because I feel like there's a lot of people that their own brand that they work for originally carried
Mm.
because the brand just had good juice. So their work wasn't cut out for them. And then they come on their own and you give them crappy juice and then you go, you're not good at what you do. You just pretended.
Mm.
So what I really want is I wish for everybody get it on their own. Uh get it on their own. You I want to see him rise. So that Phoenix is really something him rising back because I truly believe what was it? He was out for 2 years. So the
Yeah. Oh yeah.
right before COVID. So I'm assuming there's probably a non-compete there, which is average non-compete is about 18 months. So he kind of had to stay in his own corner and do his own thing, but I'm glad he did what he's doing. So
Mm-hmm.
watch out, go check it out. Dixon Deadman, check out what he's doing. Promise you, I
I
can
found
I can
I
wait.
found my notes, by the way.
Okay, go ahead.
So Beam is doing a $400 million inspection. I can't say this
The
word.
word you're looking for is expansion.
Expansion. Thank you. Gosh, tongue tied over here.
Mhm.
$400 million
Expansion.
in Boston, at the gym at the Beam. No, the Booker.
What is
Oh my
going on here?
gosh.
Is your
Let me
computer
start
down?
over. Let me start over. Okay. Double take. Take two. $400 million investment in Boston at the Booker No Distillery to convert um, old grain from mash into biogas,
Okay.
and it's going to be huge. I
You're
mean,
trying, you're
a
trying to
lot
help the
of
environment.
a lot of it is to make this whole process greener. Which I mean, Beam Suntory is a huge, um, front runner for bourbon,
Correct.
and whiskey, worldwide. So the fact that they're doing something to actually convert it into clean energy, I think is fantastic. And I was kind of surprised reading it, but then at the same time, I'm like, okay, it makes sense. Like, way to go.
Speaking of Beam,
Speaking of Beam.
little book, The Finish Line is out.
Is
If
that
you,
chapter 6?
I can't even count anymore.
Let's say it's chapter 6. I feel like that feels right.
Okay, The Finish Line is what it's called. Uh, the little book, The Finish Line, is out. The uh, I don't know if Booker's 3 is out yet, but 1 and 2 kind of came out at the same time.
To the
3,
finish. To the finish. It's
okay,
chapter
to the
6.
finish. So to the finish or finish line. I just read it. I'm like, to the finish. Okay, I knew it was something with the finish. So little book to the Finnish is out on the market. If you are, now I'm going to tell y'all, if you're part of the dropship membership of Beam, no need to go find it
Yeah,
because
it's coming right to you.
they will send it right to your house with something else. I think they're including something else.
Can I just say, like, whether you're a big Beam fan or you're a big Booker fan or you're a Little Book fan or you're fans of like some of the one-off stuff they're doing like this, that direct to consumer thing is brilliant. Like that is, I mean, even for consumers like me, I mean, it's brilliant on their end because it's printing money.
Correct.
But I mean, for people like you and I, we don't have to go out and stress out about a bottle we really
No.
want because we're fans of the product.
Right.
It's going to come right to us.
Sure.
I like that.
But I want to also make it clear. We are going to have a conversation later about this direct to consumer shit. Because
we can.
For all of you guys doing this direct to consumer shit, we need to be very honest. You're gonna come in our segment of y'all done fucked up. You're gonna make it there. I tested that theory. I went with makers. Boy, was I wrong. I'm like, why are you sending me this DNA thing y'all are doing? I don't care. Send me something you guys are doing that actually matters. Hell, change the bottle for me. Do something. Get my nipples hard. Do something. No.
Sure.
I get that box and I'm like, I paid $300 for this? Fuck out of here. That's how I felt. That's literally how I felt. I canceled it immediately.
So it's interesting because Makers is under the same Beam Centauri umbrella. And Beam's doing direct to consumer, Makers is doing direct to consumer, but
It's
I
the
feel
same
like
family.
it's of course, but I feel like Beam is actually putting in the work to get you stuff that you want versus.
And again, that's why I'm saying this, because the first thing Beam brought out was, hey, we haven't released this thing yet. Let's send you out our most ridiculously expensive juice, aka that 2-year-old bullshit. But we're gonna soften the blow by giving you our 15-year shit.
I mean, the 15-year shit's good, man.
It's good. No. The 15-year, and for all of you guys that are not on the podcast, the Truth is Barrel Proof podcast has the 15-year review by Wendy on the Truth is Barrel Proof podcast right now. So if you guys are hesitant about grabbing the 15-year, go on the Truth is Barrel Proof podcast. You can actually pick that up literally at. I think you can actually read. It's like literally a short review. It's like 5 minutes. You're good. But the 2-year was reviewed today by our one of our collaborator, Ian, aka Barrel Proof Nerd. He reviewed it. He reviewed the 2-year today. He lied to himself a little bit through the review. I listened to it, but he was honest by saying that it smelled young. You know, everything that came through was kind of young. It was in a certain way, but we have to be honest. Wow me. Because the only reason why the Beam thing, I would keep that direct to consumer membership is when the real shit come out, when the real allocation come out. Speaking again of Beam, Booker's single barrel is coming out.
I'm actually really excited for that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be real tasty.
So Booker's single barrel is coming out. Please don't fuck us on this, Beam. Don't do us. I'm just putting it out there for people that have that membership. I believe that truly is what should be setting you aside from anybody. So I'm glad they're sending out the little book and whatever it is that they're adding to it. But I would love also to see them making sure that people are getting access to those allocation. Those things that are coming in.
Can I run through this really quick? We can touch on the so it's since we're still talking about it. It's called Barreled and Boxed. The very first release was in fall of 2021, and you got chapter 1 and chapter 5 of Little Book. I don't have a price on here because it's sold out, so it's not giving me a price. Then the second
399
release,
is three
it was
hundred
three
dollars.
nine.
Two
Okay,
ninety nine.
the second release was the winter of 2021, and you got the 15-year-old Knob Creek and the Basil Hayden 10-year. Summer 2022 was, like he said, the 15-year and the 2-year had Hardin's Creek.
Mm-hmm.
And then currently, right now, I think we're
Yeah,
we're
current.
going to be on Little Book Chapter 6, and then a distiller's share that's toasted brown rice. I think it's still some of that toasted rice that came off
of the last
in
of the little book last year,
the Little Book and
which was a
the Basil
disappointment,
Hayden.
by the way.
It was a little disappointing, and the
It was it
Basil
was
Hayden
it was
was
a
a little.
disappointment. Let's be honest. Let's let the low. I've always like for in my book, bookers cannot do wrong by me. Right?
Sure,
I'm
sure,
I'm the number one fan.
sure.
Bookers can never do wrong by me. But that little book, chapter 5, somebody got to go out and tell the no family, like, bruh,
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 bruh.
bruh. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, as as these people that work in this, and y'all can love or hate me, but at least you're gonna get it straight, no chaser from me. Y'all need better friends. That's all I'm saying. Because it being logical, and I love Brent that say that, oh, we don't have home runs, right? We don't know if we did well, but we just experimenting, right? So some brands will say something out and go, hey, you know what, we don't know if we did right, but we wanted to try something new, bear with us.
Sure.
The people that don't say anything and just say, oh, because you used to home run, let's keep sending you this and you go spend your money, which Booker's has significantly increased through the years, where you were looking at Booker's started. I remember I used to buy Booker's at $59.99
Same.
about 5
When I
years.
first, when I first got to Kentucky 5-6 years ago, everywhere on the shelf, $60
60
nonstop.
bucks. Now the minimum you pay for a Booker is $99. That's the
Yep.
minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be fair that as you increase it, and the little book is what, 139 or 149. So somewhere you have to be fair when you actually coming up with this thing to say, is the price increasing, cost of living is going up. Please, for the people, for the sake of the people that love y'all so much, we are like your kids, your fans, your supporters. Do not disappoint. 149 in Florida. So yep. So
Yeah.
149 in 140 in Florida. That's what I'm saying. So it's 129 minimum that you get in that little book at. So
Sure.
let's be very clear and honest that the prices are going up. It used to be 99 for the little book. That's
Yeah.
what it used to be.
Yeah.
So let's be fair, let's be honest, and let's give the consumer what they need. But do I like their program? Yes, I do. The Maker's Mark for me kind of, if you're gonna keep sending me, right, and we talking about finishes today, so we are going to talk about it. But yep, Van, you're right, 99 retail for the Bookers. So, and you're talking to somebody.
I think the next release that's coming out from um from them, the Winter 22 release, you get the 18-year Knob Creek, and then the, what is it, Fred's pick of the Bookers.
Okay,
And it's $290. I think that's priced appropriately.
that's
Especially
about right. That's what I'm
I've
saying.
seen the
You
Knob
try to
Creek,
keep it about $300.
yeah, but I've seen the Knob Creek alone go for 300, like at places. So you don't have to track anything down. I
Well,
really liked that
I
18.
like that they're doing that,
Sure.
because
Yeah.
what was it? There was an email that I received when I was in Kentucky 3 weeks ago, and it was direct to consumer as well. That what Peerless was doing. It was like
Oh,
Peerless,
wow.
and it was an email for people that actually follow Peerless. But guess what?
Hmm.
Kentucky only.
Weird.
Yeah. So I emailed the person. I'm like, why are you doing this Kentucky only?
Huh.
For a small district like Peerless, that's the one. Why are you even making this membership bullshit?
Sure.
So I feel like makers kind of missed the mark, in my opinion. Missed the mark.
Nah.
Those DNA bottles for me, it's just bullshit to charge $300 for to send DNA bottles to people. But I believe Beam is onto something.
Mm.
They're getting there. So give credit when credit is due. I think Beam is doing it right. I want to see it more with more distilleries, but you don't want to wake up in the morning and obviously these people are releasing this shit. You end up with $1,000 charging your credit card because maybe Buffalo Trace release something, they release something, so you get all your bottles, but true, you end up spending a lot of money. Sometimes is it worth it? Yes. Do you want to stand in line for 20 years and grow gray hairs to find your bottle? Probably no. So I think the word is going there. It's going to that direct to consumer thing. So to bring back to the news again, to the finish, Little Book is out. Booker's single barrel for Booker's Lover is meant to be out. And then as we keep going, there is still rumors out there of a Booker Rye. There's rumors
Mm.
out there of
Mm.
Booker Rye. So
It's gonna break the fucking market, is what it's gonna
it'll
do.
break the internet for sure. It'll break the internet. So we don't know yet, but if we know, once we know, you will know because we love y'all and we're here to give y'all the news. So once we know, we'll let y'all know. On the news still, for all of you guys, this is going to be a two-part news. One is going to be news, but the other part is going to make it to You Done Fucked Up, because the You Done Fucked Up of the day, if y'all know the segment, the most popular segment right now is the You Done Fucked Up. The You Done Fucked Up moment of the day is going to be assigned, I will let you know ahead of time, to Brookladdick. Brookladdick is, for me, is in that bucket today. But for all of you that are a fan of our all time, and he hurt me to even tell you this because I made 10 phone calls today. So every year for me, Christmas for me is defined by me actually reserving about $900 to spend on my Octomore. Octomore is
Okay.
from the House of Brookladdick, and he always get a release. One of the greatest thing about Octomore that I love is that it's the highest peated whiskey in the world. Is always one of those whiskeys that you want to have in your collection if you love peated whiskey. The
Sure.
release is always fun, a lot of good graphic video. But Adam himself, as the head distiller, will come in and tell you about the whiskey and all the things I have to do. They didn't announce shit. No email, no nothing. Saturday, I just sat here. I was looking in the local Nebraska group, and somebody said, October 13 is on the shelf here. If anybody want one. I say, Whiskey Hunter, say what? So for all of you guys that are here, if you're an Octomore fan, Octomore 13, 1, 2, and 3 is out on the market. Get to hunting. It hurts me. Why?
They're what, like $200-300 a bottle?
It's about $250 a bottle. But
Okay.
I just want to make sure y'all know that every retailer I've called, keep that in mind. If you're an Octomore fan, every retailer I've called said the same thing. I'm only getting a bottle of each. I'm only getting a bottle.
So they're
I'm
getting
only
one, two,
getting,
three.
no, like somebody's just getting like a bottle, like a 2
Oh
or a 3.
shit! Wow.
Or I'm gonna get, no one is getting a case, no one is getting a thing. No. I even call our good friend, our good friend in New York, who actually sell a shitload of scotch.
He does.
And Sean said, yeah, I'm only getting 1 or 2 of those bottles. That's it. That's it. So if you're an Octomore fan,
What?
Octomore 13 edition is out. Go out there and go get it. It's gonna get rare. So go ahead and get it.
Wow.
If you're a fan. So for all of you guys there, Michter's also released their toasted barrel. We said this before. Make sure you grab the toasted barrel. If you're a toasted barrel fan, Michter's released their toasted barrel.
So apparently they listened to the masses on this one,
Okay.
because the first release of Toasted Sour Mash was a miss. A big miss. Haven't got a chance to try this one now, but apparently it is huge improvements. So if you weren't a fan of the first one, go check out this new one because apparently it's going to change your mind. So I've been told.
Uh, for all of you guys, again, the Scotch news, Balvenie, Balvenie just released their 16-year Balvenie in French oak.
Ooh.
If you're a Balvenie fan, this is the first time they have a 16-year out. And French oak is quite interesting that, the most popular Balvenie is the Caribbean cask. Every person loved that Balvenie Caribbean cask. I'm hoping they do justice with this French oak one that is out. So those are the whiskey news. If you actually have any news that you think we're not talking about or bringing up, we'll love to hear from y'all
Yes, please.
today. So this was whiskey news.
Whiskey news.
So let's come to the subject of the day.
Let's do it.
So we are talking today about Finnish whiskey. Now, the way I will introduce this subject is words have meanings when it comes to labels. So actually, the word Finnish by the TTB is described a certain way, right? And aged in. So one of the things for me coming from the Scotch world, before I continue, that's a good question. I'll get back to it, Van.
That's a great question.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll get back to it. One of the things that we need to understand when it comes to whiskey in general, bourbon, rye, Scotch, or whatnot. I come from the Scotch world. There's nothing wrong with finishes in Scotch. Aging in Scotch is what I'm used to.
Mm.
Most of my single malt, most of my Scotch whiskey is always aged somewhere, finished somewhere, went through a few barrels of something. So for me, it's a normal thing.
Sure.
But in the bourbon world, or the rye world, or the American whiskey world, it's kind of interesting as a whole. We had the imposters that will say they're finishing something in something, but they're lying. We have the people that over finish things. We have the people that barely finish things. And then we have the people that obviously finish and do it right, the way a finish supposed to. And the way I describe a good finish is based on the taste note you're getting, based on the original whiskey that you actually are having. And then you compare that to the taste note of the finish, right?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to say going into this category of finishes, and it's, did the producer start off with an already premium product,
Correct.
or they trying to cover up flaws and imperfections?
A mistake.
A mistake, a bad barrel,
Correct.
something they're not willing to take a loss on.
Correct.
Throw it in barrel X and we'll see if it tastes better.
Correct. So there's something to be said because the reputation of Finnish whiskey is terrible in America.
It is. It's
because
really bad.
there's in Scotland or in Scotch or in Irish whiskey, a finish is an honor. It's a badge of honor, right? Because what you're doing there is that you're taking a whiskey, you aging in an ex-bourbon cask, which a lot of people use ex-bourbon cask, but then you want to elevate the whiskey by finishing it in the barrel that will give it. It's like, think about something. Think about this. It's like wearing a suit, right? You wear a suit or you wear a dress. There's something about putting a pocket square on your suit, right? There's something about adding a brooch on your dress, right? There's something about adding an accessory that don't make it better, but elevate what you're trying to wear. And that's how I believe finishes should be. It's not here to hinder, take away, but elevate the whiskey. And some of y'all then fucked up on this one. And some of y'all are doing it right. So I'm going to start by asking you a question. When someone say finished whiskey, what's the first thing that comes to mind? And what was your first experience with finished whiskey?
The first thing that always comes to my mind is Angel's Envy. I mean, that's the first thing
Dude,
I think of.
I literally had it next to me.
It's the first thing I think of when
Me
someone
too.
says finished. I mean, is it the most boisterous, loud, annoying? I'm saying annoying in a good way.
Yeah, like
Finishes,
bold taste.
right? Is it? No, but
No, it's
it's a
not.
great introduction to finishes, and I think it's
Shout,
opening
shout
up.
out to Angel Envy. Shout out to
Yeah,
Angel Envy.
I think it's opening
Shout out
up
to the
a
Henderson
lot of
family.
other people's palates to things that they didn't know that they liked. Because a lot of people I've talked to recently, they'll bring up Angel's Envy. They're like, "Oh, I really like Angel's Envy. Cool. What did you like about it?" Well, I like this, this, and that. Okay, did you know that Angel's Envy is a finished whiskey? What?
What?
And then you get to go show them these other brands that are also finished, and they're like, "Holy shit! I had no idea this even existed."
Correct.
So I really like that for the fact in this category, I'm going to say Angel's Envy is kind of just it's the gateway, man. It's the one that everyone goes to, it's the one everyone knows about, and it's the one that's really going to, I think, open up uh, your world into finishes. It's also, I think it was probably my first experience with Finnish bourbon. Was the rye, actually. Or no, it wasn't bourbon, it was rye. First time I ever had anything finished, it was Angel's Envy rye, and my mind just freaking exploded.
Yep.
I was like, I don't know what's happening here. Yeah, and it was incredible.
I'll tell you right now, it was also my first experience. Shout out to the Henderson family for actually putting something there for the regular schmegular person. Because a lot of people don't understand that finishing something and having everybody just approach it a certain way. Like I didn't like rye for the longest time,
Sure, sure.
but that Angel Envy rye kind of babied me into it.
Oh yeah. I feel like it did that for a lot of people though
Yes,
too. I mean, you take that super high rap. I mean, we started talking about this in the very beginning of the show. That finish for Angel's Envy would not work if it was in a bourbon at
mm,
all. And it would I would go as far as to say it wouldn't work with any other kind of rye mash bill than the one it has. Oh, do you know what he's talking about?
no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you got to give me more. You turned me into getting a bottle of whatever the whiskey was finished into. You compared the two. Oh, I compare a lot of whiskey. Help me out, brother. Show me which one. But I would
So
tell
do
you,
you kind of feel the same way? Like how everything I said, you kind of feel the same
oh yeah,
way? Or
100,
okay.
100%, absolutely, unequivocally. Word of the day, unequivocally.
Unequivocally.
Agree with you on Angel Envy Rye. If you were introduced to Finnish whiskey by Angel's Envy Rye, put an F in the chat. Put an F in the chat. We want to hear from
Seriously.
y'all. We want to hear from y'all. Put an F in the chat
Seriously.
because I want to know how many people also had Angel Envy Rye and went, oh, I don't like, Caribbean cask is cool. Port cask is cool, or something that actually you had and you're like, oh, wait, if Angel Envy was your first introduction to a finished whiskey done the right way, like you loved it without actually, having to need to add anything to it, put an F in the chat. We would take an F in the chat if you actually
Boom.
had that as your first, because if and believe it or not, Tricia here that actually put the F in the chat is not really a big Angel Envy, a big whiskey fan, but she love Angel Envy,
It's good, man.
right?
Can't stand it. Too
It's too
sweet.
sweet. Of course, Morgan would actually tell us it's too sweet, right? But I would tell you right now, are we talking about finishes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Finishes, you know. I would tell you right now, it's one of those things where you're like, you love that thing because it's just it's one of those opportunities to actually try something finished that is so good. You're like, hey, wait a minute, I kind of like this. And actually, obviously, yeah, I would say this: dessert is what it reminds me of. It really, Angel's
100%.
Every Ride remind me of dessert. Now, what would you say was your second experience when it comes to Finnish whiskey?
It was also another mind blower, and it's a bottle I don't have in my collection. I'll probably never have because they're so stupid high now. It was Bellamide honey.
I have one of those.
So I'm not, I will tell you this. I'm not real big on the sweets, but honey and maple syrup just do it for me. So anytime those things show up, and I didn't know, that's the other thing too, is I was at like a whiskey festival or something. I was going tent to tent to tent. My buddy nudged me. He goes, "Get the honey," or no, he said, get the special stuff." And I was
Mhm.
like, "Okay." And I looked at the dude and I was like, "You got the special stuff?" And he's like, "Fuck!" He took my glass and like poured it under the table and handed it to me. And I was like, "Okay, cool. I got the special stuff." And I'm smelling it. I'm like, "What the?" And I sipped it and I was like,
Belmead,
"You know that part?
aka Greenbrier. Now,
You know that part in Ratatouille when everything explodes when he mixes two foods
correct,
together and it's like
correct.
that's what happened to me. 100%. I was like, this is incredible.
Belmead. I'll be honest. Belmead honey was honey finish done right.
Oh my god. They are the fucking standard when it
But
comes to
but
finishing
for me,
whiskey. And
the funny thing is, I did not even start in honey. The second finished that people actually never paid attention to, because I asked somebody one day, right? I asked somebody one day, I say, "How you feel about Maker's Mark?" And they're like, I really like Maker Marks. And I'm like, "Oh, which one do you like?" And they're like, "Oh no, I just grabbed my Maker's Mark off the shelf." I'm like, interesting. I'm like, "Do you know Maker's Mark was actually a Finnish whiskey?" Because when studying whiskey, I never, the art of staves
mm-hmm.
never comes to people's mind when it comes to finishing. But truly, staves were the original and best way to finish a whiskey.
Sure.
So makers, because I will tell you right now, it was the craziest thing. I had one Maker's Mark, and I'm like, this is good for a cocktail. I mean, I don't like the flavor profile. Then my local store here do a pick of a Maker's Mark,
Mm, mm.
and I'm sitting there, and I went there, and the guy's like, "Oh, just try it. We'll give you a free pour. Just try it." And I tried. I'm like, "Holy fuck!" Right? And then I realized why.
Mm.
The stave that they've eliminated, that cocoa and
The
French oak
mocha. The
stave, the
mocha.
mocha, did something to my brain.
Mm.
So obviously, all of a sudden, I'm a book. I'm a Maker's fan. But I will tell you right now, during the pandemic,
Is that the Lee Initiative bottle? It sure is.
yes, where they mix so many shit in these things that Jesus only wouldn't even recognize it. This is a blend of 10 different recipes together.
You know why that batch was so freaking insane? Because there was a lot of women that worked on that to make it what it was. There was a lot of female palettes on that.
This whiskey right here is literally what Finnish should taste like. Shout out to the Lee Initiative, the Lee community, the Lee Initiative for actually putting this during the pandemic and helping people
Oh yeah.
in the industry. But they made me a fan of Maker's Mark, and then they disappointed me with that DNA bullshit. But So for me, the second person when it comes to finishes, when someone asks me, what do you think is actually have finishes out there? The second name after
Makers.
Angel's Envy will be Maker's Mark. I'll tell you right now, um, I will tell you right now, Maker's Mark have figured out that's literally what they do. That's that's their job. Is the finished things to actually get your palate keep thinking. I mean, they have a whole laboratory about trees and staves, and if you actually see most of their 46 and anything that follow in the step of the 46, those things are or the science of the stave and
Sure.
how finishes happen.
Sure.
So shout out to Maker's Mark, man, for being the OG of stave finishes and never letting us down because there's always something new. And when you went to actually do your Maker's Mark pick, if you ever done a Maker's Mark pick, they will tell you the recipe is there. You want a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of more, and you actually get to build it and build your kind of your own personalized finish, honestly.
Mm-hmm. It's. I would say it's probably one of the more um, unique like private selections than having your own barrel because you're getting a whole barrel, but it's not a single barrel, but you're blending your own whiskey. Like however you want it to taste, guess what? They're going to make it taste that way,
That's how
or
it's
you're going to make it taste that way.
yeah,
And this is all going to be on you. This is your special bottle of bourbon that you blended just for you, just for your friends. Nobody else is going to have it.
correct.
Nobody, even if they try to replicate it, it's still not going to taste the
They're
same.
gonna be the same. What is the third name? So you say Belmead, right? So we're talking about finishes that happen in honey barrel. And a lot of people tried those honey barrel. There's what I would say my top two barrels that I believe people tried the most to finish thing in. Number one, maple. Number two, honey.
Right there with you on that one.
The two most used barrel finish, maple, honey. Always.
Yep.
Now, do people do it right? Let's be honest. Does everybody get it right?
No, I'll be honest, I've had some that were a huge disappointment. Like just huge disappointment. I had one that was apparently honey cask finish and they used some kind of funky bourbon and it tasted and smelled like Kraft macaroni and cheese. And I was like, how the fuck did you take a honey barrel and make it taste like macaroni and cheese? I
And
mean, it
ruin.
was fucking bizarre. I kind of enjoyed it for how weird it was, but when you put it on the scale of this was a honey finish, it didn't taste like it, man. It tasted like macaroni and cheese, which was cool, but
Maple finish is also one that I actually love. I've had a few maple finish whiskey that I feel like that's the one that is not. But speaking of also honey finishes
hmm,
and staves at the same time, 291.
dude, it's literally sitting right here.
Speaking of maple or honey finishes, I will tell you right now, there's no one that have mastered the art of staves to finish and barrel finish as 291. I'll fight anybody on that one. I'll fight anybody.
I can't disagree with you on that. Like I think it's more interesting that I feel like it wasn't I don't think it was done on purpose. I think he kind of just fell into it and he goes,
Yep,
"Oh shit, this works. I'm going to do this the best I can do
correct,
it."
correct. They have a lot of people don't do this. 291 is still the only person doing aspen stave to finish in their whiskey. So literally, they drop the stave in, they finish in about 6 weeks in, and then they can put the whiskey in a different barrel. So if you never had 291, I feel sorry for you. But if you never had 291, look for the 291. And if you love maple, you definitely want the 291M. That right there is what the doctor prescribed.
I would go as far as to say this is the best maple finish on the market.
Yes.
I I don't think you can top this.
No.
I really don't. I would
I-
challenge you to do so because I love both those things. I like whiskey, I like maple. But I don't think you can do it better than 291.
No. No, you can't. No, you cannot.
There's something
291M
about there's something about that spicy rye, that high proof, that
and those
aspen,
aspen
that
staves that just
small
bring it.
barrel, like all those things, they just fucking work, man.
They work. They work. So let's keep moving.
Oh my god.
Speaking of finishes, the third person that got me into kind of asking myself, does finishes work? Is this brand here?
Oh man. I don't know if it's going to be positive or negative, but for me, it's mostly negative.
Me too.
Okay. I will say they did one that I enjoyed a whole lot. I think the rum finish was really nicely balanced, but everything so far that I've had that they've done, I'm like, where's the finish? I
Under
find myself
under the word of the day is underwhelming.
underwhelming,
Underwhelming.
underwhelming.
I don't know. I don't know if the master blender there understand what's going on, but blood oat, as far as the concept goes, is great. But as far as these finishes are happening, something needs to happen either in the entry proof. Something needs to, I know they're keeping the proof the same because you have to be the temperature of blood and whatnot, but
Marketing, that's finest.
something needs to happen because it's getting worse and worse and worse every year because these things are literally underwhelming. Underwhelming. Like the latest Calvados finish, I'm like, thank God, my friend buddy. I'm glad I did not buy it. And this is coming from someone who have from back three all the way to this back.
Sure, sure.
Thank God I did not do it because they
That's a bummer when you find like when it's something that you liked or something that like got you into something and you find yourself saying, "Man, I'm glad I didn't buy
yeah,
that." That's a bummer.
underwhelming. Underwhelming. 100% underwhelming. No taste of whatever it is that you think you're doing. Nothing is happening. Now let's talk about somebody who like so another thing I want to bring up is every finish kind of have their own signature, which
Yeah,
actually helps you like your finish. Honey finish will always have that thing, that kind of what I like to call that kind of succulent caramel thing that you want to kind of go back to, right? That's honey finish. A maple finish kind of give you that I like to call Christmas morning
sure.
pancake dessert type of things, heavy caramel type of things. One of the finish that I actually really love, and I know this is French oak, right? The reason why French oak finish I can recognize anywhere is because French oak specifically have notes of cocoa powder. So if you put French oak in anything as far as a finish, I'll be like, is that French oak? Because that cocoa powder note is so specific to French oak, you almost cannot go wrong with it. So guess what? When our friends from Penelope decided to actually finish the whiskey in French oak, I say, y'all give me some of that.
Man,
And
I'm
I'm
missing a bottle of whiskey here, and I'm actually kind of bummed out about it because I was going to talk about it.
and I'm telling you right now, this architect, the build 1 and the build 3 for me are my favorite. You guys are my friend, but I have to tell you which one I don't like. But this right here, this architect,
Guess I'm not
if
going to
you
drink
guys
that.
have not tried architect,
Huh.
and speaking of actually doing a comparison, when you already, and you guys know they have MVP, but you already have the regular expression of something, and you actually get the pretty much the quote unquote the finished version of it. Danny, Matt, Mike, this right here is what French oak stave supposed to be like. So honestly, French oak stave finish on that one for me, perfect.
I gotta give it up to. I gotta give credit where credit's due. Okay.
Okay.
And if you know me personally or you've watched this show, you know that this is kind of like a controversial and taboo brand, but something that I'm respecting the hell out of this brand for doing, that they started to experiment and they started to mark the bottles as such, as experiments. And the ones that were successful, they went back and learned from and have developed it even more. And I'm talking about Nulu. This is an experimental French oak finish. They did a spectacular job on this. I was thoroughly impressed, and very, to be quite honest with you, my mind was blown that they were able to do what they did. Not because they're bad whiskey makers, but because they learned from their mistakes. And I have to applaud anybody on any part of your life. If you're learning from your mistakes, you are a beautiful fucking human being. Thank you. Thank you for not being stagnant, and thank you for learning and growing. Appreciate that. So, the French oak from Nulu, incredible. Incredibly good.
Now let's talk about people that fucked up on their finishes. Because we can't talk about the good and just
Without the
leave out the bad.
just leave out the bad. This is very true.
Because we're not hypocrites. Right? We are not hypocrites.
I like to think we're not, but hey.
Oh, I forgot. Another person that we need to give credit to that actually did a nice finish. Unlike Blood Oath that is underwhelming us, this brand came up about 2 years ago and they started doing nice finishes. Yellowstone. Yellowstone understood the assignment. Yellowstone has started doing some nice finishes. Last year on 2020 was great. 2021 was amazing. I have not tried 2022. I don't know what that is, but amazing. Yellowstone. I'll be remiss if I did not talk about Yellowstone and their finish.
Man, oh man, oh man.
Now
Oh my
let's talk
God.
about who's out here fucking up for the one time.
Let's do that.
Who am I gonna start with? Let's start with Good Times.
I don't even want to go down that road. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
We can talk about it, but
No. But the question is, If people are not sure, and this is from somebody who invited Good Times on this show, so
Yep.
it's not like we are hating on anybody.
No, they were here.
We invited you here. If people have any doubt about your ability to prove your finish of a whiskey, that means somewhere there is a lie. Somewhere. We don't know where the lie is, but there is a lie. And you never actually came and discredit that lie. So for me,
It was let the people think what they think.
correct.
That's the worst thing you can
I
do.
don't I will not go with that. I don't agree.
This is where I'm always gonna say, like, I've heard some people try to put Nulu and Good Times in the same conversation, and
No, no, you
I
can't.
think that's you
That's
can't.
not fair.
You
And this
can't
is
at all.
coming
And
from
here's why.
somebody. This is coming from somebody who still today still need an apology from Nuru,
We'll get
and
there.
didn't happen.
We'll get there.
But
But that's
I
what I'm
will tell you
saying.
right now,
Is that
you cannot put Nuru and Good Times in the same conversation. You will be an asshole if you do that.
100%? Because, like I said, they listened and might have not done the best job of listening in the beginning. Fuck it, they learned. They were like, shit, we gotta do this better. We gotta be better than this.
Correct.
They're being better than that, man.
No, they just need to make sure that they understand that bourbon is not just white, it's for everybody. So, and then they will do just fine in their life. That's all. That's all Good Time needs to learn. Don't follow the Kentucky stereotype.
Sure,
Open up your brain, open up your
sure.
mind. The amount of black people that buy Good Time is a lot. So when a black man walk into your establishment, treat them better. That's all. That's all Nulu needs to learn. And I know a lot of young and a lot of, yeah, I like to say stupid and ignorant way of thinking is still there, and they don't know any better. They're still running a business and they don't know how to treat people. It's fine. It's okay. But till actually Chase himself apologized for the stupidity and the semi-biased behavior that he
I
got
think that's
there.
neither here or there. I think a lot of it's a misunderstanding, and I'm not trying to discredit what happened to you at all. But I think we're kind of just beating a dead horse at this point.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. That's why I don't buy noodles anymore. I
That's
will
fair.
not buy it because for me, if you are treating me a certain way, I wouldn't. You will not be a brand that I will promote. Even though I actually spend my energy, time to promote you as a brand, you actually end up treating me as a second class citizen.
Okay, so let's go back to Good Times because Ian said I was literally typing. How could this not start with Good Times?
Correct, because truly is I mean is that's how it is literally they're the most controversial brand out there when it comes to finishes. So I would definitely say they've because think about it. I've tasted four gates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tasted four gates,
Mm-hmm.
3 barrel finished.
Mm-hmm.
I knew immediately by tasting it, not by the overwhelming taste of the barrel, not by the sweetness of the barrel, but by the notes that I was getting. I'm like, oh my God, I see so many complexity happening here.
Sure.
That never happened with Good Time.
Mm.
So
It just feels like it's like sweet packed on top of
is
sweet packed
it,
on top
it
of sweet.
seems the flavor seems made up. Also, the type of flavor you're talking about, right? Raspberry something. Where you find the raspberry? You don't got the answers, Sway. How? How, Sway? How?
I
That's the
mean,
problem with Good Times is how? How you coming up with these flavors? How?
it's the same thing as like we just find really good barrels.
You know what I'm saying? So, um, Chattanooga.
Shit. Well, they still owe you $69.99.
Chattanooga, y'all then tried. I just feel bad for y'all. Y'all tried. But let's be honest. You're not there yet. You don't understand finishes yet. Keep working on it. Chug it, chug it, chug it, chug it, chug it, chug it. You get there. But you're not there yet. You're not there yet. Let's talk about my friends.
Your friends?
Heaven Hill, Parker's Heritage, Curacao Finish.
Which cares? How is there still so much of that around?
Because no one is want to buy it.
I can't even tell you the amount of times I've run into somebody at the bar on a weekend, and they're like, "Hey man, we went to Heaven Hill today. Cool, did you get anything?" "Yeah, man, I got this Parker's orange carrot or
I'm like, whomever is putting that thing out there either was fired or need help. That orange curacao is, and this is I'm a fan. I love Parker Heritage, but that orange curacao was the biggest L, that Heaven Hill can take in their life. That's the biggest L.
You can't have the bad orange carousel without the good orange carousel, and a brand that actually did a fantastic job.
I know who you're gonna talk about, because I'm about to talk about what they did wrong as well. But
we can talk about what they did. We can talk about what they did wrong.
No, let's do what they did right first.
I mean, we can pull out the fucking granddaddy of what they did right. But since we're on the orange
But
carousel,
we're on the orange carousel. Because they got one right. Let me see.
So this is the Desolare Orange Carousel itself, but Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Okay. All right.
Did an orange Carousel Desolare finish, and it was fucking incredible.
If you never had, what is it? That orange carousel is also what they use. If you ever go to Bardstown Bourbon Company, let me tell you, when you walk into Bardstown Bourbon Company, go to the bar and ask for the old fashioned.
Oh, they're
barrel aged old fashioned is aged in the orange curacao. I'm telling you right now. Every single time they ask me, "What do you want?"
Barrel finish old fashioned.
Send me the old fashioned. That's all I want. I don't want anything. Send me the damn old fashioned. Chateau Labode is a nice finish, very nice finish.
This is the finish that's damn near breaking the internet right now. This is release 1. Shout out to Bourbon in Indiana. But Chateau Labode, this is I think this is the Mac Daddy of finishes. I think when it comes to how something should be done or how something should be finished, as far as something that's kind of off the wall, because I will say this is kind of an off the wall finish. This brand this finish kind of sets the standard.
Let's talk about people that are doing okay but still need to work on their game.
Doing okay but need to work on their game. All right.
You're doing okay. Like, you're okay, but you need to work on your game.
Starlight.
And that's, the funny thing is, I feel like some people have kind of chipping, like, I'm talking about cheap in the Starlight brand by making it almost as he went from this special barrel age brand to, anybody can have a Starlight. So here's the reason why I never bought a Starlight in my life. Shout out to Whiskey Fly. Whiskey Fires will send me all some Starlight barrel for me to try, because it became this thing where everybody have a certain version of a certain way of that Starlight. I'm like, what is good there? Like,
Yep.
give me something authentic from there. So
And
it,
I get that. I get the same response, and it's always from people who are really big fans who've been following them. That's fine. This isn't anything against any of the Hubers at all. Okay, I just haven't had that experience. Just like Jack said, show me something good. Don't tell me, baby.
show me,
Show
show
me,
me.
show me. I want to be. I
You guys
believe
are
in it.
doing okay with all the barrel pick group, but Starlight, I'm expecting you guys to come up with something authentic that is only yours, and that is not a group thing. To really show me something good. I still haven't visited Starlight. I still haven't tried a Starlight
Oh,
yet. I have the samples there, and hopefully one day I'll actually muster the courage to actually try it and see what's that about.
God
But
dang.
beside that, um, I will be remiss if I don't talk about the person that is one of the brand that is really trying to work on their finish. Is good, but still can use an improvement. Garrison Brothers,
Mm,
the Honeydew and the Guadalupe, their port finish,
they're
and that
good.
now they are at a disadvantage. They are in a hot weather,
Mm-hmm.
so the finishes are kind of hard.
Sure.
So it's still something that they kind of have to work around. It's good, but I feel like it could be improved and could be better. The honeydew so far is getting there. It's getting there, but
Sure.
will eventually get there. Somebody else that is doing a finish and working. I feel like it will eventually get there. Sagamore. Sagamore finishes. They're good, but it will get improvement as the juice gets better and they're mastering the
Sure.
finish. It's
Sure.
actually it's actually gonna be like fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like that's um let me see. Who's the other person I was thinking about when it comes to finishes? Uh we're not even gonna talk about Woodford finishes because they're just experiment. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much.
No wizards.
Doc Swinson. Doc Swinson is becoming what I like to call the contender, right? Jesse is doing something there that a lot of people need to watch out for. This kid is coming with all the swings, and he's not afraid. He's not afraid. He's walking in like every time I see Doc Swinson, he sent me some stuff here that I still need to actually work on. But every time I see Doc Swinson come in, I'll only think of I am a champion. I am a hero. Oh, I not to associate them to that person, but it's that feeling that I get. Boom, ta 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 ta, boom, ta ta ta. They are not afraid. They're like that contender walking into the ring, ready to fight, ready to show what they can do. It makes sense that they got all the award that they got in 2022. I'm telling you right now, Doc Swinson is coming swinging. It's coming swinging, and
Mm.
there's a lot of good things that are gonna. The funky drummer is crazy. Yeah. There is a lot of things that are gonna come out of Doc Swinson that you guys need to pay attention to. Honestly, those are people that I believe are doing it right. They're not pretending to be pretentious, but they're totally doing it right. Where they're walking into the game slowly, but when they get it completely done,
Mm.
you guys better be prepared to be sick of them. They're gonna take over the game. If you never had Doc Swinson, I would definitely advise you to give it a chance and to have it. You are in for a treat.
I'm going to talk about one that was a total surprise to me. and I think it's kind of flying under the radar because they're not doing a whole lot of finishes, but they have a lot of finishes going as far as barrels that are in their warehouse. New Riff, the malted sherry rye. I don't know if you had that.
No.
That thing was fantastic. I would highly encourage all of you to go find a bottle or try it somewhere. Find someone who knows someone. Get Jack a sample because he needs to try this too. It's blew my mind. I absolutely did not know what it was. We can talk about that too. We can talk about that too.
So let me tell you something about Thomas More. What's the best way I can put this without coming offensive? Because I've been told that I'm offensive. No one likes me in the industry because I'm actually too raw. So I've been trying my best to actually keep it in my best PG-13 opinion of things I'm putting out there for the internet, because apparently having your honest opinion is offensive to the like, kind, and heart. This show is not for your mama. Is Monday sucks. So just remember that. Now I don't know why people actually get their pennies in a bunch or get obsessed about, when you have an opinion about a whiskey. But if a whiskey literally by three people that taste it at the same time, we all get a look and we go, okay. Now, Thomas More is from the house of Barton, 1792. Is a beautiful home. I started by drinking Barton juice myself because that's where I started my bourbon journey. When it comes to cheap whiskey, that's what I got. 1792 is one of my favorite whiskey. I don't like the regular one, but I definitely like the foolproof. I fucking love the what do you call it? I fucking love the 12-year. And you would not actually, you can't even tell me anything about the 225 anniversary. No one can discuss that with me. Thomas More comes from the same house of 1792 Barton Juice. But I would tell you, whomever was put on that project to work on those Thomas More, that person need more work. Those finishes, in my opinion, honestly, are just subpar.
That's not a bad way of putting it.
Yeah,
I think that's a fair assessment.
They're not excellent. They're not terrible, but they're subpar. Thomas More for me is not worth the money. And I still remember my experience with Thomas More because I bought I think there's a sherry finish and something. And the sherry finish is what I wanted to try. And I got home. First time I ever broken a bottle in my life. I got home and I had it and it literally failed. So I literally put my small fingers and I put it in and I taste it. And I'm like, I'm not missing out on anything. It's all right. It's all right. So Thomas More, for me, I will never buy it again because I bought the first 3 that came out. And I truly believe, in my opinion, based on my palate, is a waste of my money. And I will not give it a second look ever again. Till there's a significant improvement in those finishes that they've done. I truly believe that it was a waste of I think it was $80. That was a waste of my $80.
Okay. At what point, since you brought this up as far as what it cost was, at what point do you think that there's actually innovation when it comes to a brand doing a finish, or they're just going for a money grab? Do you think that there's a fine line between those two?
There's definitely a fine line.
And how would you say, okay, so a consumer, right? An untrained and uneducated consumer coming into this, they're watching the show, we're talking about finishes, they want to go out there and they want to try finishes. And they go down the bourbon aisle of their big store and they're looking at every single bottle. What's finished? What's not finished? What's a good way to differentiate between a cash grab and actual thought that went into, let's do this finish?
I tell people all the time that do not start a brand with their finish. Do not do that. If you start your introduction to a brand with a finish, you
Mm,
done fucked up already at the beginning.
mm,
So there's no way you start a brand with, go to the regular expression, small batch, castrant, whatever it is that you have, start there. Finishes are not the way to start anything unless you're into single malt. Single malt has to go through different casks, so it doesn't matter. So you can still have the ex bourbon cask, sherry cask. Those are standard cask in single malt. But
sure.
then if you actually move on and actually have a finish of those casks in something else, that's different. But when it comes to bourbon, do not go directly for the finish. It is, I hate to use this expression, but it would be stupid of you as a new consumer to actually, right? Because here's the funny thing. I will tell you something, not to bring out Chattanooga whiskey, but how do you start a whiskey and less than the 2 years that you have it, you finish it immediately in a Solera finish?
Mm,
Solera, the most complex of all the finishes. That's what when I hit when I literally and I'm agreeing when I hit on Chattanooga whiskey and people don't understand why, is because the decision they made were so bold at the beginning that it
mm,
was almost dumb. It's like a kid deciding, you know what, I never touched a stove before. I heard some people touch a stove and they kind of cool, but I'm a baby. Let me touch it and see if it's cool. That's kind of how I put it. And for me, it was dumb like that. And I truly believe that if you're gonna start by introducing your palate to anything, have the real juice. And also, just like Ian mentioned before, have the real juice. Know what the juice is, and you can actually appreciate the finish. Anybody that have the authentic juice of somebody and they put it into a finish, you go, oh, I see what you did there.
sure.
A finish, literally, I told you, it's like seeing your partner, right? I don't care if you in women or into men, seeing your partner dress every day, right? They have the same kind of style, they wear their hair the same way, and one day they put a beret in it, or one day they just cut their beard a little, like me. I used to have a beard all the time. I just shoved the side and left the goatee. You go, ooh, you kind of did something different there. You did something different there, right? So it's like, I see what you did there. The I see what you did there is the finish. So if you're gonna introduce yourself with a brand by going with I see what you did there, what are you learning? There's no room for learning.
Sure.
Well,
Sure.
you haven't done it. So as a new consumer, please do me a favor. Don't go for finishes immediately. No matter what your first instinct is telling you, don't do it. Start with the raw product. Start with the original. Come to the purest level and you will appreciate the finish.
So to answer, boil it down. Just keep it simple. Do some research, explore the baseline, explore finishes.
Finishes is truly about exploration. It's truly about research. It's truly about letting your palate go on a journey, right?
Mm,
When people age thing in stout barrels, when people age thing in maple, they
mm,
age them in honey,
mm,
in curacao, in calvados, in cognac, in rum, in tequila, in all those things. The goal here for them is not a cash grab. The For the people that are doing it intentionally, it's like, I wonder what happened to my whiskey if it goes here in a different environment.
mm.
If I'm using aspen stave, I'm using cocoa stave, French oak, cinnamon, whatever. I wonder what happened to my whiskey if this thing happens to it. So let's be very clear and sure that finishes are about letting your whiskey go on an exploration, on an expedition, and seeing what happens to it. That's all. So, to close this subject of ours, is that Finnish whiskeys are really about people that want to explore. If you drink the same thing all the time, just say, hey, let me try the finished version of it.
Ooh.
Right? But just don't jump into these finishes and just think the finish is what you like. But at the end of the day, what the brand wanted to do or wanted to try was to actually trick you, right? Because they had a bad batch of whiskey, or the whiskey is not even is subpar, and then they put in the barrel to say, oh, let's add a makeup to it. I say this on this show all the time. Makeup on a pig does not stop it from being a pig. It's still a pig. And this is somebody who grew up playing with pigs. On God. So that's the subject of the day. Our last segment of the show, aka your favorite segment of our show. You done fucked up.
You done fucked up.
On this episode of You Done Fucked Up, I'm gonna show y'all something. Because people always say I choose violence. These are the feedback I get. Like, oh, Jack always choose violence. I just want to make sure that I have proof of what I'm talking about. So I'm going to share my screen with y'all.
Okay, let's do this.
All right. I'm going to share a screen with you. This is the screen. You see this?
Progressive Distilleries, Berklonic Distillery Company. Our new website will be launching soon. Wait, what?
Okay. This is the website of Brookladdick. Literally, this is their website.
What the hell?
Are you ready?
Okay.
I'm gonna show you something else, because when things happen, people always say, "Oh, Jack is just choosing violence." No. As a consumer, I just want to show you this. This is from somebody who always bought from Brookladdick, so I wanted to show you something. And this is a $1 million company, mind you. I want you to pay attention to something here. I want you to pay attention to something. What is this date?
July 26th.
Okay. What did they say?
Some of you may have already noticed that our website is down for maintenance as we work on some technical issues and updates. We apologize for the disruption. Rest assured, we will be back up and running again as soon as possible. For any urgent inquiries or questions, use the button, blah, 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 24 hours, Monday through Friday, yada, 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 yada. Phone number. Basically the same thing that was just on the website you just showed us.
When was that?
I mean, this is July 26th.
When is today?
Today's, we are almost September 26th. In fact, we are September 26th. 2
So
months. 2 months.
So for 2 months, right? For
Okay.
2 months, Brookladdick website is out of order.
Wow. That's a long time for a national brand.
Okay. Now, I'm actually going to show y'all something as well.
Do you have a
I just want to,
password?
because when I say somebody fucked up and people are like, oh, what does that mean? This post right here is Brookladdick Instagram. I'm going back 3 months. Do you see anything about the new Octomore?
No. Nothing. I mean, we're all the way.
No, I'm still going. The latest post from Brookladdick, literally, The latest post from Brooklytic is this laddie right here. It's from 2 days ago.
Wow.
So you release a product, the most iconic product of the year, right? Of every year, the most iconic product is released, which is the Octomore. You don't announce it. You don't put it up. You don't even put a photo of it. Okay, are you ready? It gets better. You don't post about it, but then your website is shut down for 2 months. This is a multinational company, the most respected Isla whiskey in the world. What is the only thing you can tell this brand right now for people that follow them religiously?
Get your shit together? I don't know.
Like, this makes no sense. And to add assault to injury, are you ready?
Hmm.
They've reduced the allocation, changed the distributors without even talking to the consumers, without even making any announcement. It's like you just wake up in the morning, stop your website for people to purchase any bottles from you, reduce consumption, and turn around right and turn around and like on my story next tomorrow morning, I'm gonna ask, can someone explain to me what is going on at Brooklytic?
Hmm. So do you think it's intentional?
I don't know if it's intentional, but whatever, you know what? As a matter of fact, I'm putting in my story right now just to show you how serious this is. Because for someone who loved the brand, I'm very disappointed in what they're doing. Very because even for the cost of business is so wrong. I'm gonna say one. Let me actually put this in words that people understand.
What does that even mean?
I say, can someone explain to me what the hell is happening at Brooklytic? One, the website has been down for over 2 months. Two, the release Octomore 13 without even an announcement. Three, change in distribution and reduction of stocks and increase in prices.
So if they were more transparent about what was going on or what was about to happen, would you still feel the way that you feel right now?
No.
Okay.
Explain yourself.
Do you think that they owe it to people to explain themselves?
Absolutely, they do. Why you leave your consumer hanging? Like, literally, Morgan made this perfect observation. Are they being sold off?
I mean, it seems like something's going on.
Can someone explain this to me?
I mean, it's I don't understand. I don't understand why.
Like, people always say I choose violence, but can someone explain this to me without me feeling like, okay, maybe I'm losing my shit? Like, okay, some I can be a crazy guy, so maybe I don't know what's going on, but I don't like. That's not the cost of doing business. That's not how things should ever go. Like, it shouldn't go that way. It should never go that way.
It is odd, I will tell you that much. It is very odd.
This is gonna be my post for tonight.
Jack's real mad. You can tell when he gets silent. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I definitely don't follow them as much as you do. But I don't see why a website would be down for that long, or what.
And they don't make an announcement, they don't send an email, they don't say anything. That's it. So for me, this is it. I'm literally tagging them on everything. On Twitter, on Facebook, on everything. Explain yourself. So if you're a fan of a brand and they fuck it up, that's how you should proceed. Because if you just gonna decide to just screw people up, I want to know.
I mean, there's even like I found something from Esquire I posted 3 days ago, and it says Brooklotic is the future of Scotch whiskey.
They
It's
are
this
the future
whole
of Scotch whiskey.
it's this whole write up about them and
Correct.
what's going
So
on.
what is going on there? I want to know. Explain yourself. Tell me what's happening. Because no brand would actually sit around and go, you know what, we just gonna shut down our website for 2 months. We have nothing else. That doesn't make any sense. So on this segment of You Done Fucked Up, I'm putting this literally out there for the people, because I don't think a lot of people are aware of it, because maybe some people don't pay attention. But I was expecting, I'm like, oh yeah, the Brooklighting thing is gonna literally every September, beginning of September, I'm like, oh, Octomore is about to come out. Octomore is about to come out. Every September, Octomore is about to come out. Is in October. I'm gonna be happy. It's gonna be out there. What's happening? So, and this is not me just randomly putting things out there, is what's going on.
Well, I feel like you kind of fell down a rabbit hole that you didn't know existed at the moment, right? I mean,
No,
you said Saturday you were waiting,
correct.
you were hanging out and you saw it, and then you're like, okay, what the hell? How is this out? And then you probably went and started doing some research, and then you said,
Literally,
what happened?
like what happened? What happened? Like, and I couldn't even explain it. If somebody asked me today, they're like, "Oh, can you explain this?" I'm like, I don't understand. Somebody explain. I just want to know. Please
So
explain. So,
there's a slightly same version of this in my music community. This happened last year. The singer Andrew WK was at the festival we were at, and he decided he wasn't going to play. Just,
mm,
hey, not playing. And then all of his social media disappeared, his website disappeared, anything relating to him disappeared,
disappear.
and his entire tour was canceled. To this
Wow.
day, this has been over a year now. He's still MIA,
And
and
no one can
and no,
explain it.
and he hasn't come out and said anything. He just disappeared. And I was like, what the hell happened? So there you go. Sometimes our answers just don't get. Sometimes our questions just don't have answers. There you go. That's what I was trying to say.
I want to know.
I want to know.
I want to know. So I'm putting it out there. I'm totally putting it out there. I want to know because it's been something that bugged my mind the whole time, and
Sure.
I'm like, this makes no sense. This
I mean,
literally makes
it
no sense.
doesn't.
So I want to know. I literally want to know. I want them to explain themselves because I feel like they owe us an explanation. I want to know. I want to know because these are just simple facts that are out there and they're not saying anything.
Right.
What up? What up? What up? What up? So, anyway, this was my you done fucked up moment. Brookladdick, Octomore, website. This is the you done fucked up moment of me. Do you have anything, brother?
You know what? I don't.
All right. For all of you guys that are here, the channel is here. We are here to always. We're always here to actually give you the truth, raw, neat, exactly how it is. I just want to understand things, and if people that are doing it right, we'll give them their flowers. And if you're not doing it right, we'll call you to the bar and tell you what how we feel, and hopefully you improve from it. One of the greatest thing I think the advice that does not suck out of this show today was said by you is learn from your mistakes. Learn from your
100%.
mistakes. If you don't retain anything today out of all we've said, learn from your mistakes. Learn from your mistakes. That's we're gonna let Tim go back and actually drink some warm water and get his voice back and get back to work. But for all of you guys
I need
here,
some honey and lemon or something.
yes, make sure you actually make sure you always like Tim, tell the people where they can find you.
If you find yourselves in Louisville, you can find me in lovely downtown at the famous, yes, the famous Justin's House of Bourbon. You find me all on all your favorite social media at Single Barrel Snob, and of course, every single Monday with this lovely, beautiful son of a bitch. Monday sucks. Jack, what's good?
It's Jack Bigadoo, aka the Hood Sommelier. Want to make sure you understand that we're here. We love you. We want to make sure that you are in the know of whiskey. A lot of good things and few things coming soon. Make sure you support the channel. Make sure you actually jump in, like, share, and subscribe. It's Hood Sommelier everywhere on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever you are on. Um, uh, I don't have anything else beside that. We hope you actually have a good night. We hope you actually enjoy your night. And if you have anything, any subject that you want us to talk about, hit me up on Instagram or hit me up on TikTok, Facebook, or anywhere else you are, and we'll be sure to actually bring it up. You have somebody who you believe done fucked up, make sure you let us know so we can actually tell them they done fucked up. And if there's any news that you actually think we should actually put out there for the people, make sure you reach out to us so we can do so. But until then, we will see you next time.
Cheers, dudes.